Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Purple Phoenix Games, and I have with me a very, very, very special guest that I've been waiting forever to talk with. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us, who you are, where you're from, what makes you famous, and what you want to talk about today.
Sure. I am Carla Kopp. I run Weird Giraffe Games and Galactic Raptor Games. I'm famous for having two companies, and nobody can understand why anyone would do that. I'm also a game designer, developer, and publisher. I run a blog and a weekly live chat about game design. And I do, I don't know, basically every job in the industry at this point. So yeah.
Every job.
Yeah.
Okay, well, going on top of that then, what was the first game that you were involved with its production?
So the first game ever, it was a game called Super Hack Override.
Mm-hmm.
This was a game I had designed after I was at a convention and I wandered into a seminar on how to design a board game. And I saw like this 9-year-old child and he was asking questions and he really motivated me because I was like, you know what? If a 9-year-old child is good at game design, maybe I, an adult, can also be good at game design. So I made a game after that, and I was just like really happy the first time I played it because it was playable, and that was Super Hack Override. I ended up self-publishing that in 2016.
So not that long ago, really.
Yeah, like 5 years.
Does that feel like a long time or a short time to you?
It feels like a long time because like my life is completely different, and also like I don't know if you remember like being in college and like the interviews and stuff, but like they'd always be like, "What's your 5-year plan?" And like I'd always be like, "I have no idea." Well, because like realistically, I have like these ideas of where I want to be in 5 years, and every time it's completely wrong about where I actually go. Like I don't know like how anyone can be like accurate, like unless they're like super boring or something, or maybe they're good at deciding things. But yeah, so I guess like it feels like a long time because I've also really changed as a person. Like I've grown like so much. Like in the beginning, like I was a super introvert. Like I just went like to conventions sometimes and I never talked with anyone. I went with my friends and that was it. But then like through being a publisher and having to go out there and like do interviews and be on panels and stuff, like I got to learn about like public speaking and I can just go and like talk for hours and hours about things. Like, I mean, I host a live chat now where I just like get on the spot and people just ask me questions and then I talk like just off the cuff where I would never have been able to do that before. But also I never thought of myself as like a creative person. Well, cause like I've never been creative in anything except for board game design. Like even so much like I'd have like projects and they'd be like, oh, you can do whatever you want, and I'd be like, this is the worst. Just give me an option of 3 and I will be so happy. I will choose one and go forth and finish it. But like if I can do anything, I hate it.
Sorry, that made me laugh a lot. Okay, so you already mentioned that you own 2 companies. And I know a little bit about each, but can you tell other people what the difference is between the 2?
So, Galactic Raptor Games, that is a company I made with Dan Letzring of Letterman Games. I say that very particularly because otherwise I might say, like, Dan Letterman, because, like, that's what people just assume. But no, so Dan he's a good friend now, since we're business partners. But we wanted to create more games together, so we made Galactic Raptor. With Galactic Raptor, the games are more mainstream, more accessible. We have so far Animal Kingdoms, Rar and Right, and the upcoming Kingdoms of the Deep, and they're very much like Animal Kingdoms. You can play with a 6-year-old. Like I've taught a 6-year-old how to play, and they like were going to town on it. So like it's they're like colors and numbers, but like still strategy for people that do like hobby games. Um, and then we have Weird Giraffe Games, which is like my baby of a company where I do what I want because I can. And I try to make games that are really accessible, have very weird themes. They're usually like a classic mechanic with some sort of like weird twist to it, where like you can introduce it to non-gamers, but like it's really like there's layers of the strategy in there. So like
Right.
it's really more for a hobby market to see like the true depth to the games. I'm also really passionate about making solo modes and trying to make the games like really accessible from like a cost standpoint. So I try to make a cheaper game. So like there's a lot, but like in a small box.
Now, I'm going to advise you to shy away from the word cheaper and start using less expensive, because cheaper, you don't want people to confuse that with the quality of what they receive. Because what I can tell people that are watching this is that I have most of your entire catalog, and there are no cheap games there. Like they may be not very expensive, but I would not ever say anything like that. So okay, to tail onto that as well, you have a very affordable game going on Kickstarter right now. You want to talk about it?
It is Gift of Tulips. It's a game of giving tulips to friends, set in Amsterdam. In the game, you are basically drawing a card, playing a card, drawing a card, and doing some other action. And you can choose between giving a tulip to a friend, which will get you a lot of points right now. You can choose also to keep the tulip, which will, it's an area majority game, so the person with the most of each tulip type gets points at the end. Or you can mess with the market, either up front where everyone can see, or with the hidden market, which will come out at the end of the game. It's very simple. You play you play cards, give them to people. One of the things I really like is that it's not a take that like interaction. It's more like a give this mechanic, or that's what I'm calling it, because when you're giving the tulips to people, like it's always good for them. And like when we play, like people are always going like, oh yeah, thank you, I really appreciate that. And they're like, not in a sarcastic way. It's like, oh yeah, I do like that you just gave me this. So it's all very positive. And well, I mentioned before it's set in Amsterdam, but this is kind of a passion project for me because my grandparents immigrated from the Netherlands, and I recently, well, I guess like 2 or 3 years ago, I visited there, and it was like so like life-changing, I think. Like it was like the first place that I had ever gone where I felt like really at home, if that makes sense. Even though it was like a foreign country that was so far away, it was like, that's the place like I want to be, or like live at some point. Like if I could choose to live anywhere, I'd probably choose to live like in Amsterdam or Hawaii, because well,
wait,
Hawaii
those are not at all
fantastic.
similar.
Well, like there are two very different reasons, but like I love both of them if money was off the table, and like, you know, also like passports and a pandemic.
Just those little things.
Yeah, just those minor details. I would live in one of those two locations.
Okay, and to get back to the game itself, I've played the prototype, and it's gorgeous. Like the art on it is great, and I put in my review that was one of the things that really clicked with me, was the way it looks, the way it plays. But like what you were saying, is that it is a very positive gaming experience versus I want to hoard everything for myself in order to get the most amount of points. But this one like kind of turns that on its ear, and you know, you want to give away cards so that you can get more points. So you're still trying to win and do things strategically that way, but it's in a much more digestible manner. And I think the give this is a great term for that, and you don't really see that in very many other games. So I love that a lot.
Yeah, I think well, that's another like key characteristic of weird draft games, or like what I try to put into weird draft games is like
Mhm.
positive player interaction. Like when you're interacting with other players, it's not take that at all. Like you're giving to others.
Right.
Another example of that would be like in Dreams of Tomorrow,
Mm.
where whatever action you take, you give resources to everyone else.
Right.
Like it's all positive, and it could be negative. Like you could like just take resources or not do anything, but I like that extra like positive incentive because like why not have a happier experience? Like instead of having like things baseline 0, have them baseline 2, and then everyone's just happier.
Hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I think we have enough games where it's 1v1 or, player versus a ton of other players. Like, I think the versus thing is good for some, but it's a breath of fresh air. It's really refreshing when you have something that you can pull out and say, okay, now to get, people unangry at each other, let's play this. And I'm just gonna give you a pretty flower. Okay, and then that's gonna make you happy. I mean, I think it's perfect, and it accomplishes that really, really well. Um, so at the end of the video, I'm sure we'll give everybody the chance to go to the Kickstarter and provide all the links and everything because there's still, oh, let's see here, I'm on the page right now. There's still 15 days to go. You funded pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, within a couple hours.
Yeah, that's always a good thing when you can fund on day one. So I've been eagerly awaiting the stretch goals to be announced and everything. So happy about that. So yeah, definitely get on there and check out Gift of Tulips for sure. So I know you mentioned Dreams of Tomorrow. I see some others behind you there that I recognize, and I just wanted to know, like, which of your games do you think are overlooked by people and really shouldn't be? Like, what are some gems of your catalog?
So I think one of the most overlooked is probably Big Easy Busking.
Mm.
It's one of my favorite to play because like I consistently lose at it. It's an area control game, and I consistently lose because like I'm really good at math, so I can be like, oh okay, so I know Travis and he has a setup and his ideal move is this, and then you do something else and I'm like, oh, now I have to respond to this. And like everyone does that to me where I'm like, okay, I know what everyone's ideal move is, and then they do something different and then I lose. So that game has a lot of like reacting to the other players, and I really like it because depending on who you're playing with, the game can be completely different, and the strategies are really dependent on like figuring out what other people are going to do and maybe doing something different or like getting there before they do.
Right.
So that one was released right when the pandemic hit, so like people had other priorities.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I think it's still a great game, and I'm gonna try to like keep pushing it. There's also Stellar Leap, which was one of our like that was actually the second game that we released. I designed that one, and I think that one gets overlooked maybe because it's a space game, and like all of our other themes are like crazy out there.
Mhm.
But space is out there. But
Literally.
um, yeah, it's a like light 4X game
Mhm.
where I tried to make something that was like really approachable, like a really super accessible 4X game. Because like a lot of 4X games are like, yeah, you can play in 4 to 8 hours or
Yes.
something like
Yes.
that. And like that's not the kind of gaming that I typically do. Like I do go to cons, but like I'd much rather play like 4 1-hour games than one 4 hour
Mhm.
game. So like I wanted to make something for like the people that have like kids or something and like they only have like an hour or something at night to have like time to themselves. They can still have that 4X experience, but in a shorter time. And like I tried to put in like a lot of like different strategy, and that was like my first main solo where
Mm.
I went like maybe a little crazy on the solo because there's 3 solo robots, and I also made it
Yes.
so you can play multiple robots at the same time, and it's a different difficulty depending on the player order of the robots. Um, for instance, like there's a hard robot that attacks everyone else, and if you let it attack all the other robots, it will demolish them and get so many points. So like having it go last makes it an easier game than if it goes before the other robots.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree. I have played both of those, and Big Easy Busking, as a musician myself, was very much appreciated for the theme, but also as a giant fan of New Orleans and having it set there, and it's like so bright and vibrant, and everything about it just makes me happy. Like, I definitely agree that that's something that more people need to be checking out, because like once you put it all out, and usually on my table I have my nice purple covering, and that goes along well with the color scheme of the game, and like all the cool bits and everything. It's really gorgeous on the table. So I'm glad you mentioned that one, and I very, very much agree. Okay, so what about you've got Gift of Tulips coming out soon, because it's funded already, so it's coming out for sure. What else is coming out down the line, or what are you working on right now that you can talk about?
The next game after that is a game called Wicked and Wise. The designer is Fortessa Elise, who is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fortessa. Everyone should know her.
Yes.
The artist is Beth Sobel, so she's also pretty cool.
Yes.
The game, it's very different than my typical game. It is a asymmetric team trick-taking game. Yeah, and your face says, like, what are all those mechanics doing together?
Okay. Yes.
But it works out. So the traditional, like, when I signed the game, it was a 4-player game. You needed 4 exact players, and you'd have 2 teams. Each team would have a mouse and a dragon. So the dragons are playing a trick-taking game. Their little mouse accountants are manipulating the trick-taking game, like sliding in cards and sliding out cards, and like there's treasures to manipulate like what's happening. Like maybe one of the treasures might negate the trump, or you might get like more coins or something if you do a certain thing. And you also have goals. Like there's 4 or 5 different suits depending on player count now, because it is more than just a 4-player game. That would be silly to release just a 4-player game when it could be 2 to 6.
Sure.
So there's no solo mode now, because it's like, how do I do a solo mode of a team game?
Right.
We'll figure it out. Maybe there'll be something. But yeah, like I think it's a really cool game, because there's this interplay. Like the mouse doesn't really know what the dragon needs. And you can talk, okay? Like, a lot of trick-taking games, like, people are entirely silent and you can't talk. Yes. But, like, in this one, go for it. Talk your words. Like, I could say, like, hey, I have no flame cards. Maybe, hey, mouse, can you pass me some flame cards? But that, like, also tells the other team that I have no flame cards. So, like, I really enjoy it, because I can just say ridiculous things, like, hey, mouse, I have every flame card that there is. I don't need any more. And, like, that's obviously false. Like, I wouldn't actually have every flame card. They would know immediately that I was lying. But, like, I try to do, like, I don't know if that's bluffing or anti-bluffing, and, like, to try to, like,
trick bluffing. Yeah, for sure.
So, well, and another really cool part are the goals. So we started off with like 1 goal per round, but it's recently changed where you can go up to 3 goals. Like you could go for 3 different things, and that is super hard, okay? Like it's much easier to like ruin somebody else's day with these goals than to actually make your goal. But how the goals work is that if you get the goal, you get a bunch of coins. And coins are how you win, because you're dragons, you need coins. But if you lose the goal, you lose those coins.
Oh.
So, like, if you put down 3 goals, you can make it super big, or you could just run out. You could just go to 0, and that can be that. So, like, players are never entirely out of the game. Like, if you're winning, like, if you had 60 coins and I had 40, like, you probably only want to put down 1 goal, so you can probably get that goal, while I might try to go for 3 goals and just take it all.
I see. Oh, that's interesting. And I like that theme of dragons and mice working together. I don't know why in my head, I have dragons and mice not ever working together. But I guess if you need a mouse accountant, that's a good match. Okay, so you just kind of introduced a weird but cool theme. So what other themes do you feel are either underdone, or what themes are like overdone? Like we're getting to that point where there's so many games that like, are we running out of themes, or like what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm not a big fan of like pirates or zombies or like colonialism or like regular trading or farming. Like you
Okay.
can make farming fun. Like I would be much more into a game that was like weird mushroom farming or space farming or something like that than just like regular like there's corn and beets. Because like we have enough games with corn. Themes that I really like. Usually like I make a game about it. Like so I have this weird fascination with birds.
Okay.
So I have a lot of bird designs.
And
They're
there are
weird.
birds in your game too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's so many birds. Like one of my games that I love, it's called Puffins Love Muffins and Maine. The and Maine is in subtitles or like parentheses.
Oh wow.
But this is like one of my weird designs. Like so the games I publish, like I sign some of my games and I also design games. Like sometimes like I haven't published Puffins Love Muffins because it's like it's maybe too weird to publish, but it's super fun.
Wait. Too weird.
It could. So what kind of game do you think Puffins Love Muffins is?
Okay, so puffins are a type of penguin. If I'm right, puffins live like on a mountainside. Can they be found in northern UK, perhaps? I'm not sure, because my kids watch a show called Puffin Rock. Okay, love muffins. You know what? I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. Because
Okay,
I got the
well,
puffins probably partially right.
yeah, puffins. They do. They also live in Maine. They're also what
Wait,
birds
really?
are based off of. Yeah, they live in Maine.
Oh,
There's like Puffin Island there. That's
didn't.
why I actually when I went to Maine, I decided to make this game because I was inspired by Maine or something. I was locked in a like very large house for 2 weeks with game designers and just things happen. But yeah, go on game design retreats. If you're a game designer, I highly recommend it, especially if you're locked in somebody's like mansion of game design. But whatever. So Puffins Love Muffins, it's like pretty heavy Euro game.
Okay.
It's about puffins that are making muffins and they're selling the muffins to get these power ups. I really like it because it has this different trading mechanism. Like so I am a puffin and I'm really good at getting krill. And you
Okay.
might be really good at getting octopus. But like every like it's also engine building. So like you want to build your engine, but you have to use resources from other people. So you have to trade with everyone. Like,
Mm,
and it's not one of those games like Catan where you're like, hey, I have 2 sheep. Can you give me a grain for it? And you're like, no. And then
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
sad. So in this game, we have like our little chest, and your chest starts at 2. So you can keep 2 resources like in your chest, and nobody can take them. But otherwise, they're all out because like we're a puffin colony. We're just, we're all friends. We can trade each other. We're gonna do it 1 for 1 because like again, we're friends. We're gonna be realistic here. So like I can go fishing and I get like 3 krill, and then I'll go trade with you and I'll give you 2 krill and I'll take 2 your octopi, and then I can like get this engine. So you really have to think about like if you have enough resources. Like I typically go and I fish a lot. I just fish all day, and then people come and take my krill and they give me other things, and then I have the things I need to build my engine.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
the second part is maybe like when we're getting into like what was Carla on when she made this game. So they're making muffins, which are the engine, and then they're going out and they're buying souvenirs from Maine and they're putting them on their souvenir shelf, which is a spatial puzzle game of like
Okay, keep going.
It gets
You haven't lost me yet, but you're getting there. Yes.
Weirder. Puffins are very meticulous. So they like to label each shelf.
Oh,
so there's
gosh.
different there's different goals out. Like, so if I put like 3 like tiny moose on my shelf, that might be the moose column. So I can take the objective of moose shelf, and then I get points for that. Or like the shelf might be like blueberries and I don't know, boats or something. And like there's these different objectives out. You take an objective, you put it on your shelf because you're a meticulous little puffin that likes to label things. Think of it as like a label maker for like all your little things. And that's the game.
Okay. Yep, that one is not overly used, so you check that box for sure. I want to play this game so badly now, just because I think it's ridiculous but super fun sounding. And that's kind of both you and me. Ridiculous but kind of fun too.
Yeah. Well, like so like that's why I'm so like on the fence, because like so my partner, he's like, I hate this game so much. But not for the reason you think, because like I made the game because I was just talking about puffins, and Catherine Stipple was like, and muffins, and I was like, puffins love muffins. Game title. So like I've started designing just purely based on game titles at this point in my life. It's fine, it's a life decision. But like he goes, you know, Carla, if a gamer hears the game Puffins Love Muffins, they're gonna think like it should be like the same way as Trash Pan does, or like it should be a very light, like friendly card game for 6-year-olds. And I'm like, okay, yeah. but it's heavy.
Yeah. I mean, just show him Feudum, right? I mean, look at the art on Feudum. That doesn't portray anything, you know, heavy, but yet there you are. So. Or
like Bunny Kingdom? Like there's.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yep.
So maybe it will come out, or maybe I will use the title for some light and friendly game to make my partner happy, because then marketing would be way easier. But like, I don't know. That's why I haven't done anything with it, because like.
And we all suffer because of it.
I know. Like, don't you want my weird, super heavy game of puffins and muffins and organizing souvenir shelves? Because apparently puffins need label makers.
I mean, yeah. How else will you know where your little moose things go? How will you know where your blueberries and boats are supposed? Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay. So I have some non-Carla questions. I know it sounds weird, but not like necessarily non-you, but Weird Giraffe, non-Galactic Raptor. What are your top 5 games of all time?
Top 5.
They can be your games, like if you're super high up on, you know, Tumbletown or whatever, but your top 5. It doesn't have to be in order.
Right now, I really like Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
Okay.
Like, it's really cool. For people that have played Pandemic Legacy or like, Carla, why are you playing a pandemic in a pandemic game or time? It's not actually about pandemics. It's about the Russians and the Soviets and stuff. So it's not too real for right now. But I really like.
There's really Russians.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like too real for like my partner was playing season 2 at the beginning of the pandemic, and like he was like really devastated one day, and I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "We were playing Pandemic, and they found out the reason why the world got destroyed was because nobody social distanced."
Right?
It's like, oh, yes. That, like, I think it was like a month into the pandemic or something, where like he was also like, he had to like figure out how to do like cameras and stuff and do all the work of like social distancing, but like experiencing a game where it's like, yeah, the world is like over and there's zombies and stuff. Why did this happen? oh, a variant of SARS and nobody stayed home. Oh, that's life right now.
Yeah. We are becoming
Oops.
a game.
Um,
Okay, so that's one.
yeah. I'd probably say like the other pandemics as well, just because. So like the thing with legacy games is you typically like I made a group of like my favorite people, and then we experienced like
Okay, name all of your favorite people then. No,
well,
don't.
okay,
Don't do
so
that. Don't do that.
right
I'm just
now it's
kidding about
me
that.
and the other person that lives in my house.
Oh, okay.
So, and before it was like all my favorite coworkers. Back when I went to a job and didn't just stay in my house for 1 year. I'm fine. We're all fine.
Yeah.
We're just all like kind of a little bit weirder than we were before. But
Or our true selves are actually coming out. How about that?
maybe I feel like I'm more of my true self when I'm like I get to be around people and also like not go stir crazy from like my weekly trip. Like so what I do is I stay at home. But like once a week I go and drive to Walmart where they put groceries into my car and then I come
Yep.
back.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
what you
that's
do.
like my excitement for the week. When somebody else puts groceries into my car.
Oh, we're
So
sad.
at some point we'll be able to leave the house and it'll be great. Well, like before, so I started doing game design and publishing and whatever, like full time about 2 years ago. So I had this like glorious year where I traveled the world and just hung out with people. It was
sounds
fantastic.
Yeah.
So I learned things like if you fly on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, like the flight prices are like 1/10 of the cost.
Really?
Yeah, like literally, I flew to Seattle and it was like $200 round trip, and my partner did 2,000 because he had to do it for like a work thing. Like literally,
Oh my
like
gosh.
I got to fly to Canada for $200 round trip, and it's like, yeah, of course I'm doing this. And then I just stay at people's houses, which is super cool. Like
Yeah.
they sleep, make me breakfast, but then I get to play games with their family and like just hang out and stuff.
I mean, that's
And
the life.
yeah, so like there was like a 2 month period in 2019 where I was just like I traveled to I was in New York for a bit. I went to New Jersey because it was just a train ride. Then I flew to Seattle and Dallas. I came home because it was Thanksgiving and there's no conventions. And then I flew out to Rochester and then went to Philly and Maine. And like that's when I stayed in Maine for 2 weeks, just
With the
designing
puffins,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah, with the puffins, and they drove me crazy. Or like I don't know, I just inspired. What is inspiration and what is crazy? We don't know.
It's puffins.
But like that was like such a really cool part of my life because I got to just hang out with people and like I don't know, have fun and see things. Like I'd never been to New York before or Maine or like Rochester, so like that was really nice. But then going and staying at my home for 1 year after that was
Less
hard.
nice.
Well, like just imagine it. Like, well, I actually got stuck in California when the pandemic hit because I was at a convention. Because like I don't know, I still think about this sometimes where I was like, yeah, I knew coronavirus was happening, and then I flew to Reno, and I guess I didn't think about that much. But then things got crazy, and I got stuck on a mountain, and then I got stuck in California, and I eventually made my way home. It was fine. It was fun. I made a game
you
about
made it home, and you're
hedgehogs,
fine now, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, so, like, part of my life right now is, like, I remember things based on, like, what I was inspired by and then what kind of weird game I made at the time when I was, like, stuck in the desert. Well, I was stuck in the mountains and then also stuck in the desert at some point and thinking about hedgehogs a lot. So there's a hedgehog game that came out of that.
So you have different animals depending on the region that you visit that just inspire you. Are hedgehogs like super rampant in the mountains and or desert? I guess I don't really know my hedgehog trivia as much as I should.
So I was at another design retreat actually in the middle of the desert, and this guy was like, "Oh yeah, can you just play this hedgehog game? I need a hedgehog game for my publishing company, and this one has hedgehogs. There's not a lot of hedgehog games." And I played it, and I hated it. And I was like, "You know what, David?" He was a guy I was staying with. I was like, "We could make a better hedgehog game," and then we did. So
Okay, so what animal is next on your checklist?
I don't really have a checklist. There's lots of birds. Well, like I've already made like a ton of bird games. Like I literally have a case of games about birds.
Do you own birds?
No.
Why not?
So as a child, I did have birds. I had a pet raven, and then it flew away at some point in my life. That was devastating.
You had a pet raven that just ran away.
Well, it stayed with me for years. It would like be on my shoulder. I was a weird child, okay? I'm not gonna like say I wasn't a weird child. I would like go and I'd tame like animals on the outside, and I still kind of do that. Like I'll go to the park and pet ducks and stuff, and my partner's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "They like being pet."
Do they?
Yeah, and they're soft.
Oh, well, I'm sure they are.
But like, I guess other people, like, I don't know. I have a way with animals and also small children. Like, well, I think the small children thing was back in the day when like I actually like had multicolored hair, and they thought like maybe I was a wizard or I don't know, some fantastical anime character. But yeah, like children would like love me when I had like bright pink or blue hair, and like we'd play games, and I get along much better with children animals than I do like most adults, but that's
I would
my
suggest maybe not petting the children so much.
Yeah,
though
don't
they may
touch
be
the
soft. They also bite more.
And they're gross.
They can be gross. I have two little ones myself, so I get it. Oh, no, we're very much hand washing family. Like not like overly so, you know, like where they're raw or anything like that, but we wash hands a lot. So you can be around my children at least. I mean, it's kind of weird to be petting them, but if you feel you must. Okay, so tell me the story about why you started Weird Giraffe Games, and then also the story behind the logo that you use.
Okay. So I kind of started with the story where I went into that convention.
Yes.
Child inspired me. I made a game. I'm also really good at like researching stuff. So after that, like after I had gotten that game that just it worked as a game, I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And I went into Google because my superpower like is that I'm really good at Google. Like I can just put in whatever into Google, and then I can search and learn things. Like that's how I know how to cut and dye my own hair, because I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to a hairdresser. I just want to do it myself. Which was actually, it fully prepared me for a pandemic. So
well, there you go. Yeah.
For me, I was prepared. And me and my partner both have like hair that looks normal. But whatever. So I researched. I found Jamie Stegmeyer's and James Matthews' blog, and those were both blogs on like how to kickstart and publish your own games. And so I just like made a checklist, and then I did the checklist because I'm very like meticulous and like weird. I'm just like, oh, okay, well I made a game, and here's the next 300 steps, and start. And so I didn't actually like maybe like acknowledge or like realize that like most designers went and like pitched games to other publishers. Like I learned that like later on, but I think it was a good choice because like well, my partner wanted to learn how to run a business, and now he hates businesses, so he learned a lot. But like I got to do a bunch of things. Like it pushed me to go to conventions and meet people and like open up, and now I have a ton of friends in the industry, and I think that's all really been worth it. Oh, and so the logo. So I was a kid growing up in the 90s. So at one point in my life, I like was making websites and stuff, and did okay pixel art. I'm not gonna say I was good at it. I did it. So the logo, when we were trying to figure out like what the logo, like what the company would be and stuff, I got this idea. Like I really like Okapis.
Yes.
Okay, and my last name is Kopp, and I was like, this is clever. It's gonna be Okapi Games, but with my name. And so I was like, but what goes with that? So like I whipped out paint, like regular paint, not Photoshop, not anything else, and I made a little pixel Okapi, because that's what a logo is. Like I was like convinced like, oh, they won't like Okapi Games, but if I make a pixel Okapi, it'll be great. Spent like maybe an hour on that. I don't know. It was some amount of time. But I got attached to it, and I presented it to the team of 4 people, and they looked at me like I was dumb, and I was like so excited, and then they're like, nope, and I was like, okay, well, I spent an hour on this pixel Okapi. What else could it be? So I was like thinking, I was like, well, it's a relative of the giraffe. So it's kind of like a weird giraffe. I got rid of the Okapi games and I put weird giraffe games and I presented it. I was so happy, and they're like, what?
Oh no, they didn't like that either.
They did not, and I was like, okay, what's better? And they're like, fine.
So that's how it happened. Oh. Well, at least everybody was so excited about it. That's a good step.
I was excited, and that's what mattered.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I really like good logos and whatnot. And the one that you're using now, the more like cartoony one, it was great. I love that one. I love all the colors. So I'm gonna have to get with you on who made that, and
that is also a funny story. So well, I guess maybe not super funny, but like, okay, so one day I was just sad, and I was talking with my coworker, and he's like, I got sad one day too, but then I went on Fiverr, and
yes.
And then he like put a pin in front of me, and it was an NG, I forget like what exactly it said. It was like a clever software-y thing about, it was like a little cute pony, and it had an angular joke on it. And he's like, and then I made these, and I was like, how, you made an enamel pin? That's so cute. Like, what? He's like, I went on Fiverr, and you can pay somebody to make this. It's $15, and then you can be happy. And I was like, $15? And then so I followed. Yeah, like I've spent way more than $15 to try to make me happy before. So I was like, yeah, I'm a software engineer. I have $15 to just blow to make me happy. So I went to the person. I was like, make this Okapi, put weird giraffe games on it. And then it happened, and it was so cute and adorable. And I showed my partner. He's like, whoa, that could be our new logo. And I was like, what? I was just doing this for my own personal enjoyment, but I guess.
Yeah, and I love it. And we use Fiverr for lots of things too. Like our logo comes from a Fiverr contact, where we actually started off as something completely different, and like we changed, like we rebranded before we even like put out any content, which ended up being really good, because like our first idea was game dudes with foods, right? And so we were going to like, talk about games and whatever while we're like enjoying food. But then it just turned into like, we recorded 1 or 2 videos, and we're like, it's really just us sitting there getting gross, like eating a bunch of stuff and like talking about games a little bit. And so then we like kind of changed it up a little bit, but we used Fiverr for that. We used Fiverr for our new one because I wanted something different. And so I went like kind of an esports way. And so that's why our logo looks the way it does, kind of like an esports team. And yeah, we use Fiverr a lot. So I definitely am a proponent for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just got a couple more questions here for you. Let's see here. Are you into podcasts? And if so, can you recommend any good ones?
So I used to be back in the day when I ran all the time, and I would listen to Breaking Into Board Games and Board Game Design Lab.
Okay, so I can tell that you're very much into design, and for those of us that are not, maybe I'll put some of my favorites down in the links below. Okay, here's a good question that I made specifically for you that I'm not probably going to use on any other interview that I do, and I think you'll understand why. Windows, Mac, or Linux?
Depends on the purpose.
Really? What are you using right now?
Windows.
Ew. Okay,
Because
cool.
it's cheap. And
It's
programs work. When I was doing software, like for programming Mac, and I have Raspberry Pis, so Linux for those because it's tiny. And also, when I do VMs, I typically go Linux.
I mean, you have to.
I mean, you don't have to, but like you kind of have to. It's like I've had to work with like Windows VMs, and it's like I don't want this.
No, exact. That's what I mean.
But it's like the client wants it. The client wants a stupid Windows one, and so that's what you do because you want to get paid money.
Oh, right. Right. Okay, lightning round. Here we go.
Okay.
Quick questions, quick answers. What's your favorite player color?
Green.
Minis, yay or nay?
Meh.
Yeah,
Nay.
same. Favorite designer other than yourself?
This one's hard. Maybe for Tessa Elise. She does good work. I've also been enjoying Stephen Armini's games lately, and Omari has also good games. Omari is Omari Akil. Like I just blanked on his name. But he has this really cool co-op that's coming up. I play test games, so like I could tell you like, hey, well like that's why like all my the favorite games question was like weird because it was like, should I tell you about all these prototypes that might never be real?
Yeah. Even though you like them and they're
I like them. So like I mostly just play prototypes all day, except for pandemic. But yeah, like he has this really cool co-op healthcare game hospital thing going on.
Okay. I can dig that. All right, favorite component from an existing game?
Probably custom meeples. If I had to choose a game, I'd probably go Animal Kingdoms because like I chose those and I made dinosaurs. Like I'm also like really into dinosaurs. I have a variety of dinosaur games as well.
Those
are really dinosaurs? Just for I don't know. Okay, so I made a dinosaur game and it was all about creating dinosaurs and it got signed by a publisher and now it's about fireworks.
Oh no.
Which are cool. Like I also like fire, so like I think like I made a joke at one time that I make games that are about birds and bird derivatives and fire because like I talked about like Wicked and Wise that has dragons and those are kind of like birds and dinosaurs were the pre-bird.
Sure. Okay.
So just varieties of birds in my life. I don't know how this happened. Probably it started out as a joke a long time ago and then like my jokes just get too internalized and then I really like the thing. That's a very long story of my life that I could tell you at some point.
Yes, sometime. All right, Deluxe Editions, yay or nay?
Not for coins. I like custom meeples though. The deluxe coins are just like blah. They're heavy.
So you don't like the metal coins like that a lot of... Okay. What non-gaming activities do you enjoy besides going to Walmart once a week?
So I really like traveling when I can do that. I recently got back into books. Like, so I actually read probably one book a day. I'm kind of like, I read really fast. I've always read really fast. One of my favorite jobs, like, before software, I don't know. I think maybe my favorite job was working in Barnes and Noble. Yeah. Because everyone read books. It was really cool. Like in the interview, when you interview for Barnes and Noble, they're like, what's your favorite book? What's the last book you read? And you have to like actually have like good answers to that or they won't hire you, I think.
Really?
So, like, imagine working a job where everyone likes and enjoys reading books for fun.
Okay.
It's nice.
I used to work in a college library, so that counts kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And we did not have a fire in that library, thank the Lord. Uh-huh.
Yes.
I got you there. Okay, this one is a musical theater-based question, where I grabbed the question as it's a lyric to a song in a show. Would you rather be 9 people's favorite thing or 100 people's 9th favorite thing?
9 people's favorite thing.
Okay. Now, I was just talking with another designer a while ago, and they had a very silly answer to this. They would rather be the other because the 9 people may be a little murdery. He said that they might be murdery, and I was like, oh no.
But like, they probably would, like, if they were murdery and they liked you, they'd probably just like kill people that didn't like you.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I maybe shouldn't have brought that up, but I thought that was a strange answer to that question. But
yeah, it is.
Very appropriate for him. Okay, if you could have any superpower, what would it be, aside from Google Foo?
Probably, like, well, it depends. I would really like to, like, be able to teleport and stuff, but as long as,
Thank you.
Yeah, just getting places really fast and doing things. But as long as, like, so I guess this isn't, like, with a superpower, but I always wonder this in, like, Star Trek, if, like, that's the same you. Like, okay, so, like, in Star Trek, when they, like, beam down.
When you get beamed up, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do they destroy you and recreate you?
Oh, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. So I want the teleportation, but I'm always, like, me and not, like, I don't kill myself repeatedly every time I teleport.
Yeah. See, when I think of teleportation and how I want to use it, I'm more of X-Men Nightcrawler. I just want to be bamfing all over the place. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But I'm with you on that one for sure. Okay, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Traditionally, Rocky Road, I think. That's safe.
Uh-huh. What do you mean traditionally? What is that?
So okay, I have to be gluten-free, or else my insides bleed.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, okay, what ice cream is safe? Can I, like, make sure that I can eat? I used to really love, like, cookie dough and, like, a bunch of other weird things, but now it's like, okay, well, I want to feel good today, so Rocky Road.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess I didn't really need that follow-up question. This last one is funny because you kind of touched on it before, but other than my emails, what is one thing that can make your day instantly better?
Instantly better? Probably, like, good food or a smoothie, or I'm really into, like, drinks and stuff, so if my partner is ever like, oh yeah, I made you a smoothie or a hot chocolate or whatever, that's always nice. I'm also just lazy and I don't make food. So, food.
So every time he can, you're cool with that.
Yeah, like, if he ever, like, does anything weird or, like, yells at me, he's like, oh, I'm sorry for doing this, here's a smoothie, and I'm like, yeah. Everything is always forgiven because you made me a smoothie.
What's your favorite kind of smoothie?
Right now I've been doing a lot of strawberry banana.
Mm-hmm.
So my fridge is, like, full of frozen fruit. Like, we go to Walmart each week so that we can get, like, a bunch of bananas. Like you have to have the tricks to giving the bananas, because, like, Walmart doesn't want to give you so many. Like, if you go in there and you can be like, oh, it will only let you get 4 of these. Well, there's tricks to get around that because I need, like, 30 bananas a week.
Did you say 40?
Yeah, like my camera has so many bananas on it. I'm not gonna lie, the pandemic, like, I have ways of coping with the pandemic, and, like, smoothies are kind of like it, because it's like, how can you be sad if you have a smoothie? So just make 3 or 4 smoothies a day, and you need the bananas. But, like, Walmart was like, no, you get, like, they only want to give you, like, 10 bananas.
Only 10 bananas? You know how long that would last at my house? A really long time. So how do you get 40 bananas a week?
Oh, so you have to go in and order them, and then like you put the order in and choose the date and stuff, and then you go and add more bananas, and you keep doing it.
Oh, to just add to that one order?
Yeah, because like it's
Oh,
per order. So I also used to be like I did software testing at one point in my life, so I'm very good at breaking software.
gotcha. Okay, so the next time I need 40 bananas for a banana party, I guess I will have because there's no other
Just
reason for me to have 40
get a
bananas.
blender and just
Well, no,
everyone get this.
I
Well, then
have a
why aren't you
blender.
living the smoothie life?
Okay, you know what? You're right. I have not stepped across that line yet, and I need to. I am sorely lacking in smoothie consumption, so I'll get on that. But I'm going to see what other fruits we have over there. Okay, so typically, where is the best place to purchase your games? Like your website, an online source? Would you rather people go to your friendly local game store? What do you suggest? What do you want?
Well, I want whatever is like easier for people. So if they go to my web store, it's at weirddraftgames.com/store.
Mhm.
And I'm doing a store revamp, so it's gonna look a lot cooler soon.
Oh,
But
good.
yeah, like direct is always the best way to get me the most money. But you can also
Mhm.
go to stores and ask your local retailer to order it. We're on Amazon too.
Mhm.
And if you ever like Kickstarter is fantastic. Like I love when people do the Kickstarter because you're helping us create something. Like we need the money from the Kickstarter to do the print run. So yeah, and then you can get into the pledge manager and get really cheap of all my other games.
Yeah,
So
isn't one of the pledge levels like the entire catalog?
yeah, yeah. So
That's
like the cheapest
awesome.
way to get the entire catalog is to go the all-in pledge, and then you get like a lot percentage off because I can ship them all to you at the same time, and you're buying a lot. So that would be the best way and the cheapest for you.
Yeah, and it's like extremely affordable for your entire library. Like I
Mm-hmm.
cannot believe how cheap you are, how inexpensive you are selling these. Not cheap. I don't want to use the word cheap. Um, okay. Well, now I'm on a different tab. Here we go. Back to my questions. Okay. What about merch other than games? Do you
Um,
sell it, and how can we get to it?
yes. So I have some weird merch. I used to sell shirts, and I don't think those are up anymore, but I have an Etsy store where I sell like earrings and coasters and lamps. Is my lamp here? Oh, the lamp might not be on. But I have like this maple lamp. I don't know if people can
Oh.
see it. But it does like a bunch of colors because like I also do like laser cutting and stuff. So I don't
Ooh.
know. I guess I got bored and I would make lamps and coasters and other random things. But yeah, if you like random or like custom meeples, like I do like meeple earrings and dice earrings and I don't know.
Just on Etsy, what do you search for?
Weird draft games.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And where can people get a hold of you? What's the best way to contact Carla?
Discord. I love Discord. I have my own Discord. It's at weirddraftgames.com/Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all these channels, and you can find out information on all like my upcoming games and play testing, and I do live chats and stuff. But if you're not a Discord person, then Twitter's the next best bet, where I'm at Weird Drafts with an S because Weird Draft Games is too
Too
long,
long.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so many characters. Um, but whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Twitter. I'm also on Facebook and like every other platform. But like, do I answer those well? I'm gonna like be honest and say like if you Facebook message me, I might respond eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But I respond much better on Discord.
And your Discord is usually pretty active. I am ashamed that I'm not able to spend more time on it because it's really fun there. Like the people are great, and you have that fun RPG bot and all kinds of cool stuff going on there. So I feel really bad that I haven't been on there more, but
Yeah, you should come play test.
I want to really bad. It's just a weird time. The kids are going to bed at that time, and I'm going to try to make it work as best I can. Okay, what else do you want to say about Gift of Tulips or anything else?
Okay. So Gift of Tulips. It is a small card game. If you like art or like accessible games, I've noticed that a lot of people are like really excited to bring it home to like their parents or like their family members, which I did not expect, but I thought was really cool. But yeah, it's positive player interaction and strategic. Like some of the reviews are like say that it's surprisingly strategic given like how simple and easy it is to learn. So if that sounds like something you'd like, go to weirddraftgames.com/GOT. I have infinite small or short links to make things easy. And other than that, I guess what I haven't talked a lot about is that I do a lot of consulting and stuff. So you can like pay me to talk about things. Which is like one of my favorite things. Like, well, I do like
to be paid to talk about things. That makes sense.
Yeah. I've been hired by a number of people just to like look at their game designs and like just brainstorm solutions, and I can just like talk about whatever. It's actually been like a really confidence booster because like every time somebody's like, "Hey, I got this theme," I'm like, "Oh yeah, I have a history in this weird subject. I studied green energy." In college, I got away from that, but here's some really thematic mechanics you can use. And like, it's been really weird that every time they have anything, it's like, I am a subject matter expert in this theme. Let's do it. Probably, well, it goes down to the whole like, well, I talked a bit about it where like I'm really good at Google and I like to research things. So I guess as a child, I would just Google things and learn a lot about a lot of variety of subjects. I used to love just reading Wikipedia. But yeah, so I'm doing a bunch of that, like game development and game design. That's been another fun thing because like when somebody just gives me a like premise and they're like, hey, make this game, it has to be a co-op and fulfill these criteria, I'm like, okay. That also goes back to the other thing, like with the projects and stuff, where the creativity, where I find like if somebody is like, hey, make this game, here's all the restrictions, I'm like, okay, I have the game and it just works. So that's really fun for me too.
Well, there you go. If you're in need of consultation or you want to pay Carla to talk about things or design you a game, you give her a bunch of money and she will do that for you.
Well, and it's not actually a bunch of money. I think I'm cheaper than, or less expensive than
most people.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, great. It has been so fun talking with you, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of links down on the bottom and everything. But yeah, definitely get out there and check out Gift of Tulips and all of the other games from Weird Giraffe Games and Galactic Raptor because, yeah, they make great stuff and I stand by them. And then, yeah, we will talk to people later. Again, this has been Travis with Purple Phoenix Games along with my guest,
Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games and other things. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.